The housing market, that old familiar villain, threatens to come back and derail the recovery. That at least is the worry as credit conditions tighten. And Nick Timrose joins us on set, housing market reporter extraordinaire. Nick, you have the outlook in today's Wall Street Journal just talking about some of the conditions of the housing market, which haven't really been at the forefront necessarily the last couple months in terms of the macro picture. And now suddenly, you know, we seem to be talking about potentially another leg down.
Well, we had the tax credit in the first quarter, first third of the year that was boosting sales. When the tax credit went away, sales plunged. And interesting thing, over that period, from May until the last few weeks, you had mortgage rates falling from 5%. Rates were at 5% when the Fed stopped buying MBS. They went down to 4.2 in October. And what we saw was that applications for new loans were at 10-year, 13-year lows during that period. Rates are so low, and yet we don't have any demand now. And so more folks are saying, look, credit is too tight. You have more overlays that banks are putting in right now, and so it's harder to get a loan. And people, what good is a 4.2% rate if people can't get at that money?
A lot of people are underwater on their homes. Now unemployment seems to be driving the picture with the housing market as much as just the initial sell-off from the peak. And there's also this concern that even if you do encourage easier lending conditions or something like that, that you're going to basically get us back to where we started from in this whole mess.
Well, no one wants to go back to where we were 5 years ago, right? I mean, we don't want to bring back negatively amortizing loans or any of those sort of fancy products that we had, but the concern is that right now all the loans are going to the government. Fannie, Freddie, the FHA, that's more than 9 in 10 new originations are going to the government. And Fannie and Freddie are making banks buy back loans. So underwriters, originators are being extremely careful. If there's anything in your tax returns, you took passive losses on a business, you can't get a loan. And the consequence is that we're bifurcating into two worlds. The FHA allows you to make a minimum 3.5% down payment. If you can document your income, if you're a salaried employee, you should have no problem getting a loan there. But if you're self-employed, you took losses on your income taxes, you took deductions that understate your income, you may not be able to get a loan, even if you can put down 50% and you have millions of dollars in the bank.
But Nick, you know, and your article alludes to this. Why can't there be some common sense here? You know, it's like, why is the pendulum now swung so tightly, and all these things, as you indicated, are happening in lockstep? You know, the local person looking for a loan is just simply a number, it seems, and the numbers are higher than they should be. So we've swung from too much risk to too little risk at a time that we need a little risk to keep this housing going. And it's probably likely there are people being shut out who would be profitable borrowers for these banks.
I'm thinking Neil didn't get a mortgage when he tried to apply.
No, you're absolutely right. We have millions of foreclosures that are going to come onto the market. We need somebody to buy those up, whether it's investors or first-time home buyers, trade-up buyers. Banks are going to have to learn a little bit of common sense and flexibility here if we're gonna get our way out of this.
And if not, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out in terms of the economy, in terms of the financial system next year. Nick, thanks a lot for joining us on that. Neil Lipschutz, appreciate your time as always.